Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another conversation with Constance. That's me, aka Connie. I hope you're doing well. How's your hump day going? Do people still say that? That was a big phrase when I was way younger. But anyway, I hope your midweek is going well. I'm here in the DMV area, just outside of Washington, D.C., and it's really cold here. We're getting ready to for a storm that's supposed to come in this weekend. So listen, put it in the chat where you are watching me from and tell me, is it cold where you are? Got that all set up. Tell me, is it cold where you are? How you're doing? If you're taking a mid-morning break to watch me, I would love to know just what's going on in your life right now. Listen, how many times have you heard or said, I will take a break when? One day I will, you fill in the blank. One day I'll take a big vacation. One day I'll take time for myself. One day I will change the direction of my life. One day. We're always talking about one day in the future. If that language sounds anything like what you've said or what you hear your friends saying, then this episode is for you because we're talking about breaking the cycle of waiting. Breaking the cycle of waiting. So I want you to put it in the chat. What something, change, goal do you want to achieve that you keep putting off for some other time, some, later in the future? Put it in the chat. I would love to know. The cycle of now, what I want to say is the cycle of waiting, how you break that. I'm not going to be talking about pushing harder or working longer or creating a longer to-do list. But that's not what this is about. This is about you choosing your voice, finding your voice, and then deciding what's best for you without waiting for someone else to give you permission. That's what we're talking about today. Breaking the cycle of waiting for somebody to give you permission to do something. And so again, we're not going to talk about working harder, longer, or any of those things, because I think too often we associate, obtaining our goals by working harder, working longer. And so we create a cycle, not only of waiting, but we create a cycle of burnout. So that's not what we're talking about today. Why do we wait? Well, a lot of times it seems logical. We wait until things settle down. That's what I hear a lot of times. I'll wait until things settle down. I'll wait until the economy gets better. And so that seems logical. It seems smart to try to wait for the perfect time to step out, to either change a career or to change a career or to change a lifestyle or to go for a big goal. It seems logical to wait for the perfect time. But a lot of times that's just not feasible. And I've done it. I've done it in my life. I remember when I wanted to leave TV news. Listen, that voice inside me whispered to me many, many years before I actually did it. But I kept saying, no, this isn't the right time. I'll wait until, I get X amount of money in the bank. I'll wait until, maybe I'm going to get another promotion. So I'll wait and see what happens. But really, all the time I was miserable. I wasn't happy waiting. I was just postponing things, and I was in a cycle, and I wasn't ready to break that cycle. Here's what I've learned. Fear is a very sneaky thing. And fear will dress itself up like it's logic, right? So if you say to yourself, oh, I'm not going to do this now because now isn't a good time for me financially, or now isn't a good time because the economy is not good, that seems logical. And fear doesn't, it's not dramatic. It doesn't scream at you, no, stop, don't do that. That's not what fear does. Fear says, that's a good idea, but maybe not now. Fear says, wow, this will be wonderful. Let's just wait until it's a little safer to jump out there. And so you get stuck in that cycle. You get stuck in the cycle of waiting. Please put it in the comments if you've ever found yourself in that cycle of always waiting for something to happen, always postponing your happiness until conditions are right. You know, I heard this woman talk about her mom. Her mom loved clothes. She was a real fashionista, and she loved getting dressed up. And she had a suitcase under her bed that was filled with all of her pretty things. And once a month, she would pull this suitcase out from under the bed, and she'd try on all of her things, and she'd twirl around in them, and she would just, admire herself. And one day she said to her mom, what are you doing? And her mom said, I'm trying on all of my pretty dresses. And her daughter said, well, why don't you just wear them? And she said, I'm waiting for the right moment. I'm waiting for the perfect event. I'm waiting for, I'm waiting for a chance to showcase. And her mom died with that suitcase still under her bed. She never got to enjoy the clothes and the things that she had collected. She never got to showcase herself and to show the world her beauty and her fashion abilities. I know that, when I was trying to lose weight, I kept saying to myself, oh, I can't wait to fit in this dress. I'm going to look great in this dress. I can't wait. And then when the moment came and I was able to, fit into the things that I bought, the time that I waited didn't compare with the joy I had. I loved it, but it was for a nanosecond. And then I was off setting another goal that I was going to achieve. So my happiness was always tied to sometime later, sometime in the future. It wasn't right then and there. So that's, I think, the heartbreaking thing about this cycle of waiting. The things that you lose, it happens subtly. Opportunities go by because you've been waiting to, I don't know, get more education, waiting to be in a different financial state. I think about that, especially now, because I think I need to be more like Tony Robbins or all these other people who have spent decades and decades in the self-help, space. And I think I have to, when I achieve the education and the experience they have, then I'll do XYZ. But I'm just wasting time. And that's the cost of being in this cycle of waiting. Opportunities fade, dreams fade. You can't remember the stuff that you hoped for and dreamed for 15 years ago, and now they seem even more impossible to you. And the other thing about waiting is your life begins to feel smaller than it needs to be. And I think the most painful thing is that for many of us, we start to have regrets. We regret not stepping out and starting that business 10 years ago. We regret not making that career change, years ago. I was right there on that borderline because, as I said, that voice inside me whispered years before I actually left TV. I wrote my resignation letter 2 years before I actually turned it in. Now, Thankfully, those 2 years was me getting ready to move, but it was also because I was still in that cycle of waiting. But there comes a point when you realize that no one is coming to give you permission, and that happened to me. You know, it started in my 50s, but by the time I reached my 60s, it was like screaming in my head, no one is coming to give you permission. People aren't coming to give you permission to rest. They're not coming to give you permission to take a vacation, to start becoming your authentic self, to make changes in your life. No one's coming to to tell you that this is the perfect time. You have to decide. You have to decide that you're going to claim your voice and to make a decision. And it may not be like me, like blaring in the back of my head. It may not be like that. It may be just a sense that you have that now is the time to make a change. And here's the thing. When you decide to make a change, what you're really saying is you're choosing you. And you're choosing what feels good and what is good for you. And you're getting clarity on what doesn't fit in your life, and you're not saying that your past was bad. I'm definitely not saying my TV career was bad. I loved it. It gave me opportunities I could only dream of as a child, but the season ended. And that may be the case for you. You were in a season that was great and you loved it, and it gave you lots of joy and happiness. And now it's time for a new season, a new time in your life. And you don't need for things to be perfect. You need self-trust. You need to trust that that voice inside of you is guiding you for a reason. Now, let's talk about breaking the cycle of waiting. Uh, you don't need to make a whole big dramatic announcement, and you don't need to make a whole big dramatic leap. What you need to do is let go of perfection. Stop thinking that a perfect time is going to come, or the perfect economic situation is going to come, or you're going to be in the best financial situation. Whatever the perfect thing you're waiting for to happen that would trigger you to make your next move, let it go. Perfection does not exist. Are you hearing me? Perfection does not exist. What you need to do is let go of that idea and take a small step. Take a step in the direction that you want to go in. Take a step in the direction of the change that you want to make, the person you want to become. When I decided to leave TV news and I wrote that letter of resignation, I sat down and I wrote out all the things that I wanted and all the things that I didn't want anymore. I didn't want 14-hour days. I didn't want that. I didn't want the constant noise and tension of TV news, right? I wanted something calmer. And again, that's not to say I didn't enjoy that life. I did, but I was going into a new season. So I want you to let go of perfection, take a small step, and I want you to allow yourself to be a learner. Remember when you were learning how to do something, you made mistakes. Some of them were real doozies, but you made mistakes and you dusted yourself off and you tried again. And, you got a little further and then you hit another mistake and you learn from that. It's a learning process. It's not you hit a challenge and then you stop and you let all of your progress go. No, you're a learner. You fall down, you get up. You fall down, you get up, and you keep making steps toward whatever it is you want to become or achieve. And you choose progress over postponement. Every time you fall down and you get up and you continue to try, that's a vote for you. With action comes clarity. And with movement comes self-confidence and your skill level increases. So you just have to take that one step and then another step and then another step and keep going. Don't give up. Now, if you're waiting for the right moment, again, let go of perfection. Life does not begin with perfection. Life begins messy. It begins awkward. It begins with challenges. That's your next season begins on the other side of your comfort zone. And let me tell you, Lord knows it is not easy riding on, on the other side of your comfort zone, but it's exciting. It's new. It's challenging you. It's challenging. It will force you to grow in ways that you never thought you would grow. You're not stuck in this never ending loop of waiting. So I want you to think about that today. Begin today. Let this message, let this episode marinate inside you and think about what it is that you've been postponing. And then think about how you can start with even a small step and how you can build on that small step until you achieve your goal. I hope this episode has helped you. This whole process has helped me a great deal. As I said, I was stuck. I was stuck in a cycle of waiting that I didn't think I would be able to end. But cycles change, and they change when you decide it's time to change. Leave your comments in the section below. And if this resonated with you, please hit the subscribe button and click the bell so you'll be notified when any new videos are posted. I appreciate your support, and I'm cheering for every step that you take. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time.